Hello and good evening, everybody, and welcome to this session on AI and ethical thinking in the classroom. What a topic, isn't it? Well, it's on everyone's tips, and I think it's on everyone's mind too, because each day, each one of us is interacting with AI. So it's a good day to discuss what is it that we can do to be able to deal with the ethical dilemmas that we may have with ethics in AI. Well, I welcome all of you to Tech Talk Tuesday. For teachers, this is the last Tuesday of the December month that we are taking up, and we will be sharing the January calendar very soon. So do look forward to that. And once again, I think it's been a great year. We've enjoyed great partnership with you. So first of all, thank you for that. You've always been amazing. If you have been through many of our sessions, uh, you know, I'm sure you'll agree that each session we've tried giving you a different flavor, a different thought process, and a different kind of a bent. So today again, our flavor is going to be, and each month we try and keep at least one of the sessions where we talk about ethics, we talk about responsibility, privacy, policies, so that we keep that at the helm of the things. So here we are talking about AI again. And if we have touched your life this year in any which way, do share your thoughts in the chat window about how do you think these sessions have helped you? How do you think we can drive this further? What do you think you need to hear more so that when 2026 comes, oh my God, we're talking about 26 already. Unbelievable. Where did this year fly by? So yeah, if you are thinking about any form of, AI, that piece that you want to learn more or know more or hear more about, do let us know. Share with us some of the things that are very close to your heart so that we can bring those as well to you. Uh, I have to say a huge thank you to two special members of this community, Nidhi Sarda ma'am and Sheetal Arora ma'am. You have been consistent in almost all our sessions. This is something that we see very rare, but honestly, from the bottom of our heart, thank you so much for joining almost every session that we have hosted this year. Please do carry forward the same feelings, the same thoughts in the coming year as well. And we really, really appreciate, greatly appreciate, in fact, what you do back in your schools and how you've taken everybody along and you bring your team here, Nidhi ma'am, to be a part of this community. Thank you for that. And if you'd like to share anything, please do use our chat window to be able to share your thoughts with us of how this year, our sessions have been able to help you or help you take the next step in AI journey and anything that you want to hear about. With that, allow me to start the session today. But please do know that we always start the session by requesting you to introduce yourself, to share your name, your school name, and your city where you're joining us from. Would love to know how far and near do we reach, because I see varied variety of participants here joining us from various cities across the country. So I'm sincerely hoping that today's session is going to be really impactful. Each one will reach out many more. To kickstart this session, I have just one piece in store. Tell me in the chat window, when you think or hear the word ethics, what comes to your mind? What comes to your mind when you hear the word ethics? Use your chat window to share with us your thoughts. Uh, what do you think happens? And what do you think is ethics? What do you think are ethics actually? I'm going to wait for your responses. Go ahead and share that in our chat window, please. I'm waiting for your responses. I'll let you type, and I'm just here but keeping quiet for some time so that you can gather your thoughts and share with us in the chat window. Our question to you is, what comes to your mind when we say the word ethics? And I already have Dr. Pamela, another one who's almost always around. Thank you for being here. We have, look, I told you, my window is full of people from various places across the country. That's what I absolutely love about this community. So I have over here Dipali ma'am saying moral values governing certain guidelines. Heavy words. Dr. Pamela says desired behavior according to circumstances and place of our presence. That's deep, pretty deep. Nidhi ma'am says the values, the beliefs that tell us about right or wrong. Nice. Nikita ma'am says personal value system. Absolutely. Vyasji says moral values. Aarti Vyas. Okay. Aarti ma'am says moral values. Yes. Actually, ethics can go much wider or deeper as you would like it. But what we are looking at is, this is a word which would be more close from the variety of responses that I'm getting. I can easily say this would be each one uh, to his own. What are ethics? However, in a community and a society, we do live together, and we do have a kind of a code of conduct, if I may call it. Yeah. So ethics basically would be the values, the principles, or the choices that we make, the actions that mindfully we do. When you are in a certain environment, you behave in a particular manner, right? And your behavior and actions change with that. These knowing about all of this helps us decide when is it okay to be acting or behaving like something in a particular situation. However, I think ethics are something that how it's about how we treat people, how we handle things responsibly, and how we make decisions when no one is watching. The most important part, when no one is watching, because we may act, we may want to portray certain behaviors, but it is a very simple way of asking yourself, what should I do in this situation? Why is this the right thing to do? Who might be affected by my choices? And what values am I standing up for? Well, talking about values, I think if I say the word ethics, what values come to your mind? Share with me in the chat window values that come to your mind when I say the word ethics. Because I've seen the word value, but which values are we talking about? Many a times we mistake ethics for rules. Ethics are not rules. Rules tell us what is allowed. Ethics guide us, uh, what is the right way to do something. So what are those values that help drive ethics? Go ahead, share in our chat window, what are the things that drive ethics? Okay, I have integrity, honesty, truthfulness, respect, responsibility, honesty. Honesty is something that's common between both the responses. Fairness, unbiased behavior. Interesting. Let me wait for one or two more responses. Respect and unbiased. You see how common words are emerging out of all of this? This is exactly what the purpose of today's session is, to build a common understanding, transparency, to build a common understanding for the word ethics. Ethics are always a human centered foundation. Before talking about, AI or, ethics related to AI, I think what we really should be looking at is what actually ethics means. Ethics are these values that are imbibed in us that do not need any rules to be told, but they are timeless thinking, ways of thinking. They guide our decisions, our actions, our relationships. And I think digital ethics is just a branch of ethics that concern when we are online or when we are digital. So I would want to spend much of the time before going into digital ethics into what ethics are and what guides us. What guides our choices when no one is watching, the rules or values? What do you think will drive? Let's say, you're walking on a road and you were having a banana, and it's a very common thing, right? You're having a banana, there's a banana peel in your hand now. Would you throw it in a dustbin, or because no one's watching, let me just throw it on the road? It's a very simple choice to make. Will you be driven by rules because there's no rule around throwing a banana on the road? Or would you be driven by values? Those are some of the questions that help you reframe ethics and help you deeply, embed this into the very fabric of our ways of thinking. Ethics is about making a choice we make with the values behind them. These are, the words that you've given me: honesty, fairness, respect, responsibility, empathy. When we talk about ethics with students, we are really helping them understand that every choice they make carries a value behind it. If we drive it that way, I think, uh, I think we should just pause sometimes for students and pause to talk, to say what's the right thing to do. Instead of offering an answer, let them make that choice. So do instead of just playing a role model which they feel, oh, that is so you to do it, right? Especially this generation, they love to have their own identity. So why not ask them, okay, you tell me what's the right thing to do? Why does it feel right? Who else is affected by what you're choosing right now? What value are you standing up for? And ethics isn't just about following the rules that have been made. Let's say in our school, when you're walking down the corridor, do not run. Walk, always walk on the right side or left side, whatever your school, stands for. Those are rules, or are they even ethics? What are you doing by following those rules? You are basically staying in your lane, respecting others, respecting that while you're running in the corridor, you might, you know, uh, you might hurt someone who's unintentionally, but whoever you are going to, you may strike somebody who might fall, who might get a serious injury, and then you will say, I didn't mean it. Of course, you didn't mean it. It is about developing that inner compass that guides our students even when no one is watching. Even when the cameras in the school are not working, the students follow honesty, fairness, respect, responsibility, empathy. Their thinking, their motivation, and the ripple effects of their action is what they should be conscious about, right? Why am I driving all of this? Is because ethics invite us to consider multiple perspectives. Real dilemmas rarely have simple answers and perfect answers. There is no perfect answer. Because if I ask someone, why did you throw the banana peel on the road? Well, because I couldn't see a dustbin around. If somebody wants me to throw it in a dustbin, then I think after every few yards or kilometers or, meters for that matter, there should be a dustbin. Fair enough. But does that mean you will throw it on the road? Yeah, because my hands will smell if I hold it for long. But what if someone slips, or, what if something goes wrong because of that banana peel? It starts stinking. It's creating unpleasantness for others. Somebody might slip on it. What do you think should happen? So, if you throw back those questions for different viewpoints, possible consequences, who benefits, who might be harmed, we are building discernment, not just compliance. We are giving them multiple lenses to look from. I think ethical dilemmas rarely come from perfection. They come from clear-cut answers. They come from they don't come from gray spaces where different people might think differently. I think if the situation is put in the right light, then You're such a big part of a community that before doing anything, you are actually going to think of many other things. We encourage them to think, what might happen if someone else was thinking like this or feeling in this situation? What could this choice and how many people could this choice affect? Who will benefit out of it and who might get harmed? So, this practice, it teaches students being ethical. Doesn't mean always knowing the right answer, but taking responsibility of what you are doing. Ethics can help us act with integrity in complex situations, situations where we are uncertain, ambiguous. I was walking on the road and someone asked me, do you go to this school? Or, they were just outside the school. Do you go to this school or do you go to another school? Or can I drop you to your school? I was getting late for school. So I just thought, it's just right here. I can take a lift. The problem is the road goes beyond my school. You could have taken a lift, but it could have resulted in something else. Real life situations aren't always simple. We know that. And students face such moments very often. And they're in a dilemma. They don't know what to do. They weigh in on the values that we have been able to inculcate in their lives. They must prioritize what is it that I should do. Ethics become the anchor in that moment. We guide these students in terms of being consistent. Well, do my actions align with my values? By being transparent, um comfortable explanation of the situation in a daylight, in the light of the truth, showing compassion. So when students practice these reflective processes, they learn integrity. They don't learn perfection, but they know how to make a thoughtful, principled decision when things are uncertain. Absolutely right. There are values like truthfulness and honesty, and these become the lens, whether in a classroom, outside, at friends' place, at parties, or just a social gathering. Ethical behavior strengthens our relationships. It cultivates environments where people feel respected, safe, and heard. In classroom, trust is built on the ethical behavior that we practice every day with students. When we say speak kindly, act responsibly, respect differences, stand up for someone, they create an environment where the child feels safe, valued, and seen. And this helps them understand that, ethics are not just personal, they are communal. The choices will shape the atmosphere around them. When someone just giggles in your classroom, don't we just pause to say, what if we were having a serious conversation and somebody giggled? How would you feel? Rather than saying, who's giggling? Why are you giggling? Well, that's because there must be a reason why that person giggled. That choice of what question you pose will help reshape that environment. When students practice these ethical habits, they contribute to classroom where they learn without fear, they collaborate without judgment, they grow in their environment of mutual respect, and ethics become, I think, a seamless part of their life, not something that they have to remember to be ethical. And of course, we are what we repeatedly do. Having said that, excellence is not just an act, but a habit. A habit which just not should reflect through the marks that you score, but through guiding thoughtful, compassionate, responsible decision making. When we nurture ethical thinking, we are not just shaping students, we are shaping better humans. Therefore, education has to be such that ethics must mean, in the most human sense, our values, our choices, and the way we treat others. You must have heard of treat others in a way you would like others to treat you, right? So the next step is to bring the same ethical lens into our digital space, especially as AI becomes a part of our lives, our students' lives. AI doesn't change what ethics are. It simply changes where they are being applied, how these values are being tested. So when I get requests for sessions on cybersecurity, ethics, responsible AI, I simply ask one question to those schools. What are the values that you value most? How are you practicing them? How do your students imbibe and show those values? Understanding the digital world is exactly like understanding our physical world. When students use AI tools, they interact with systems built by people. People build their own perspectives, their own limitation, their own assumptions. So, the same ethical question of what is the right thing to do here with this tool is the question that will remain whether you are in a physical or a digital world. Why am I choosing this approach? Same in the physical and digital world. Who could be affected if I use foul language, if I'm being biased on online? Same, physical and digital. What values am I upholding? Honesty, fairness, respect, responsibility. Just like in the real world, the digital world also asks students to examine their intentions and the consequences of their action. So teaching students to consider multiple perspectives is even digitally is the same as what we do physically. Do we ever pause to teach these ethics? Well, if we don't, then I think we should have ethical awareness time or make ethical awareness a seamless part of our system. Whether that is physical or digital, well, you can take up many situations, right? If AI gives you an answer, is it fair? Is it inclusive? Is it balanced? This is where ethical thinking becomes essential, helping students recognize that AI outputs are not facts. They are not better ideas than human ideas. They are just a reflection of human data and AI decisions, not human decisions. Human decision lies with you. So, one of the biggest ethical challenges in the digital age is the temptation of shortcuts. Quickly, I will go ahead and do my homework by asking Copilot. I will go and ask Copilot to make my lesson plan, my instruction material, my TLMs, my assessments, everything. Well, yes, that is one of the biggest challenges that we face. AI can write, it can solve, it can summarize, it can generate, it can create. But you may feel sometimes that I've handed over my thinking to someone else. And that is true. We do not have to actually hand it over to somebody else. We need to start taking AI as our thinking partner. That is why, in all the sessions that we host, we always say Copilot is your thinking partner. It's your co pilot, it's not your pilot. Who's the pilot here? That's you. So, when using any tool, ask, am I using this tool to learn or to avoid learning? Am I going into the depth of the topic or am I making Copilot go into the depths? Am I thinking along with Copilot or am I making Copilot think? I'll give you a very simple example. It's very easy to find out what you think of, how you're using AI. Let me give you a demo on this, and let's take it onwards from there. I'm going to go to M65 Copilot. As you can see, I am on Copilot right now. It's on your screen now, right? Today we are talking about ethical considerations. I'm going to say what ethical or give me ideas. Let's go with give me ideas for promoting and practicing ethical thinking in my with my grade 8 students. Okay? So why are we attending this session if we were to only go ahead and ask Copilot to do this? Well, because we want to have a conversation. We want to get you thinking. Here are some of the beautiful ways. Here are so many ideas to promote ethical thinking. If you needed that, here they are. Now, right now, I am going to copy these and I'm going to give you these in your chat window because if you were here only for ideas, I have plenty for you and I can give you. However, I'm here to actually think more. Create a 4 week module plan. Why not? I'm just asking Copilot to help me create a 4 week module. Here's my 4 week module. This is done. And over here, when I look at it, create a printable student worksheet. That would be fantastic. A rubric for this module and add more AI ethic examples. I think I need everything over here. I'll go with a printable worksheet and I'll say design a rubric. I'll go with these two and I'll say go ahead and do it. Now, what am I doing? Am I thinking with AI or am I making AI think? There's a difference. Think about it. And if you're looking for the worksheet that I have made, I will give you a PDF of that. That's not a problem. Here it is. Uh, I'm going to give you this in your chat window. Let's go back up to see what have we been doing. Well, all I'm doing is bringing a topic over here, making Copilot think for me rather than with me because I'm giving it an input. I said I need ideas. Whatever it's given me, I've accepted without reading, and I've gone ahead and taken the further questions of whatever you've told me, and I'm just moving on and on and on with Copilot suggesting me. Where am I using my brain? Me can't go missing. Therefore, how I can think with AI is copy this and now say real life ethical dilemmas. My students sometimes don't know how to decide between clicking on a pop up or not. And other times they get tempted to open a spam email. Now draft this. Now, what am I doing? I'm giving it my context. I am trying to tell some of the most practical problems that I face so that these don't remain plastic or botoxed. And these are real dilemmas that my students face every day in the classroom. I pretty much like what I really like, and I'll say create a weekly booklet dilemma with probably visuals. I'll ask for some visuals and icons. Okay, so I'm simply just asking it to create a booklet for me and let's see what it does. I don't know what it's going to do. I'm just doing it in front of you. So, what I'm trying to tell you is it's your ethical dilemma to either take this, which AI has purely made all by itself, and use it in your classroom, which will not have your soul in it, or simply just take a look at how can I, bring my own dilemmas over here, make it my own, and then probably, take it to class or, offer it to my students and teachers. So these are some of the things that make us think, that get us to think out loud to say, what are my own ethical dilemmas in it, and how can I, remain true to what I do. So I'm going to pause here. I'm going to take a look at, oh, it's still fixing some errors, making some things. Let it make. We're going to go back and going to go ahead. It's given me some, things to do, which I will do later. But all I'm trying to convey over here is it's not, ethics is not each one to his own. Ethics have a common, it's a common understanding, a common way in which we conduct and the way we are able to, uh, you know, take it forward irrespective of who's watching me, irrespective of whether there is a security piece that has been put it or not. If I type a wrong or an unacceptable word, what will happen? Students experiment a lot, right? When I tell them that this is absolutely secure, what students? I'm telling you, even my teachers say, Acha, it's secure. Let me try something. And why not? Remember that student learn that ethical behavior online, not because they've been given the freedom to do so. They will want to do uh, things that are forbidden. But what comes in very handy? Your integrity. Who do you represent? What's your thinking? What is your honesty level here? Who are you becoming by doing this? Simple questions really help and go a long way. How do we build these communities of digital trust? It's very important that building communities of trust and respect, not just digitally but physically also. But I'm going to now shift to the digital world to see what is it that we can do and how can we help this, new world, a world that is relatively new for us, and how can we actually take help of certain pieces around us. To be able to maneuver and navigate through the complexity of AI world. It's very important for us to know how can we, be aware of what's happening. First of all, I think what we need to do is read some research about what's happening. I'm going to give you a link in your chat window, which will give you a good insight into the studies that have been done by Microsoft and how, this AI special report will uncover many things, some realities which we might know, but we may not want to believe everything that we are seeing. Yeah. Also, I will walk you through this, so don't you worry. In a few minutes, I'm just going to walk you through this whole piece because it's a great piece for everyone to read. So we will all walk through this. But while we are trying to enable these communities, what we need is that we try and help students imbibe and understand that respect matters whether you are in an interaction face to face or online. Kindness, empathy, and fairness shape this digital community just as strongly as they do in the physical world. How they behave online influences whether others feel safe, valued, or included. When you're hosting an online session, do you respect comments that are being put in the chat window? It's a very simple way of showing respect, and you feel valued when your comment is read out. I remember, in the earlier days when we were very new to online sessions, I had this habit of keeping the chat window alive. I i share a lot of thoughts and comments in the chat window as a matter of habit, and when someone would catch my comment, even if they like it would instantly make me feel very valued and included. That, they know I'm here. They're listening to what I'm saying. And it's that simple to actually make someone feel respected. Ethics is really not limited to just physical world. It follows us everywhere into every device, every platform, every digital choice that we make. So when we make these choices, I think the dilemmas will really be very helpful if we are able to take them with us and think, deeply and widely with them and about them both. Let me take you to both, the weekly dilemmas and ethical thinking worksheet, and share those with you in the chat window, and also take you uh, to uh, to the document that I have shared with you. Here you are. This is the real life dilemma. This is what I've just created on Copilot with you. So this is something that you can take to class if you want. You share these scenarios with students, give them these questions to think about, and rewrite these scenarios. Ask them to rewrite the scenario. What if they've actually, experienced something like this in their lives? It's a good way to make them feel included and to be able to contribute. Sometimes it might have happened with their friend, sometimes it might have happened with them. They may not tell you, but they might say, Ma'am, I know someone with whom this has happened. That brews a community, that brings down the barrier, that brings out conversations that may normally not come to light. So give them these safe spaces to talk. Here's the worksheet for students. My top 5 personal values are these. What do you mean by them? What are the ethical dilemmas? Here's a student posts a hurtful comment about other students online. Identify the dilemma. Who's affected? What values are involved? Consequences. Don't just leave it for computer science teachers to teach this. Every educator today, at least today, is a digital educator. You use digital devices to teach and learn, and therefore it is equally your responsibility to teach digital ethics as well. Here is Microsoft's document that I've shared with you in the chat window. Allow me to walk you through this. And it's a very rich document. Now, look at this. The kind of relationship it's showing. Sometimes, we don't realize the depth. Usage is high around the world. Relationship with AI. Imagine the demographics. Education leaders, educators, and students. 99% of school leaders portion who have used it at least once or twice for school related purposes. These days, when I meet school leaders, I meet teachers, I meet students, the usage is extremely high. While the usage is high, what are they using for? Read these surveys to know what your students are doing online. Please read to see what educators are doing with AI. Please do read to see what school leaders are doing to do with AI. Everybody has their own takeaway with AI. Here's an accessibility assist. How is Copilot engaging the neurodivergent, our population who are disabled or who have special needs? How are we accommodating them? How is traditional teaching moving forward? What are the things that are good recommendations for us to do? For example, what great recommendations? Engage educators and students to find out what's working well. Embrace experimentation. Invite students to the table to provide inputs. AI is something that we are all shaping together. So if we don't shape it today, I think that is one of the biggest loss that the coming generations will feel, that they knew it was coming. They knew this was the right time to pause to think. But did they really pause to think? So it's a huge document. Please go through it. There are so many recommendations here. Take this back to your schools. Share it with everybody in your schools, because these are the conversations that you need to begin having. And this page is my favorite page because it allows you to develop your own strategy. It gives you documents that can help you. I'm going to open this EDU AI toolkit. And there are other toolkits as well. There are white papers of how schools have done it. There is guidance documents available over here. All these are available on this page over here. I will highly encourage you to go ahead and take some time to read this document. AI Classroom. Imagine there are family safety toolkits that Microsoft offers. We may not even be aware of this, but it's important to pause to take a look at these pieces so that we can leverage them. These are large documents, will require your time. Here's another one. These are the AI toolkits. Imagine over here, you have AI navigators. You have AI tools, how to implement. How can you bring it, say, in a simple and secure manner? Everything is given for you. Everything has been broken down into smaller pieces. Every document is available. The power of possibility, introduction to AI, everything is available for you. It's just that you need to find time to go ahead and read these. There are researchers, many of our educators, when I meet them, they ask about researchers. Look at this. Look at the rich research that is happening here. Look at the kind of documentation that has been done for you. Please do take time to go through these and to read through these. I'm going to go back. I know there's loads for you to digest, to be able to take back with you, because I think for the days that we may not meet you this year, this is enough food for thought to keep you busy and to go back to your institutions to say, hey, you know what? I got literally a Pandora's box for us. Let's unpack it together. That's what I'm looking forward to. And apart from that, there are some simple things that we must know about AI. I'm just going to focus for a few minutes on those things. Very simple things that you hear from us many a times. Biases. What are biases? How do you even recognize and how do biases happen? They happen due to generalization. Take a look. This is a typical example of bias and representation. There are many pictures of librarians that have been fed into the system. What this system generalized, the data training data generalized is all librarians wear glasses. So whenever you look for an image or ask AI to generate an image of a librarian, the AI model will give you this sort of a result. Whether it is male or female is also generalized based on biases because of the inputs that have been given. AI biases occur when algorithms produce prejudice. They lead to unfair treatment in certain groups. These can have serious consequences. What I've showed you is something very simple. Imagine how it can impact. When hiring a librarian, one thing that will be in your mind is I should hire the one that's a female or who wears specs. Tell me if I'm wrong. How many male librarians have you come across? Yeah, that's a human generalization that this system has made because of the inputs that it got. The data that it got was across, let's say, thousands and thousands of schools where librarians were females and most of them wore specs. So when students use AI, responses that they receive are generated from the patterns in the data it was trained on. And the data often represents certain cultures, languages, communities more strongly than anything that is true. So when an AI tool writes an essay for you and your students come back with that and it suggests you an image or explains your concept, it may have unintentionally favor one perspective to other. For example, if we say, I want to know what are the ethics to follow. It will very heavily rely on general ethics that may exist around the world. It may not rely or cater to an Indian classroom ethics because I have not specified. AI does not reflect all voices equally. It may give you a very westernized impact effect or westernized response, but to make it to localize it as educators we must help them name these patterns, we must question them, we must see if the image what they have presented is is a fair image of what I was looking for. Can we make it more inclusive by nature? For example, I would say I need an image of a female pilot who is Indian. I need a modern day age teacher without saying that this is a male or a female, an Indian teacher. I might even say, and the minute I say Indian, they will give men a kurta and a jacket to wear rather than wearing a shirt and a pant. And I think in all the sessions that I've done, I've not seen not many, at least not more than three or four people wearing a kurta pajama to a workshop, right? But those are generalizations. Not every Indian female will wear a sari. I mean, honestly, I wear saris very occasionally, but generalizations and are made by AI based on the data it has been fed. Talking about, data, one of the biggest challenges with AI is that it will produce information that sounds very confident, sounds very logical. Oh, when I asked for a lesson plan, it gave me this beautiful lesson plan. It's so nicely framed, but maybe factually it is incorrect or entirely fabricated. We call it hallucination. AI can invent statistics. It can create false citations. It can produce historical inaccuracies. It can even state opinions as facts. And that's why we always say don't use a general tool for education purposes. Use a tool which has been trained on education. That's why M365 Copilot that is trained on education will give you less hallucinations than a generalized tool. A tool which has been pre-fed on data about Indian context will give you a better response. For example, in Teach, when we make a lesson plan, which is learning outcome based lesson plan, it may be much different than if you go to even I'm saying even Copilot chat. instead of M365 Copilot, you compare the two responses between Copilot chat and M365 Copilot using your education license. The responses will be different. When you will see M365 Copilot giving you a response on a lesson plan, it will be very focused on your topic that you teach. Let me show you that example because I think seeing is believing. Therefore, I'm going to go ahead, share my screen once again, take you back to my browser, take you to Copilot over here, and start a new chat so that I'm doing the same thing on Copilot and also on, I'm going to go here, pull up a new one. I'm going to collapse this. Now do remember this is Copilot chat. And over here I have my M365 Copilot. I was just in a training session. So let me just refresh this, get my chat over here, or let's go to teach. Okay. Look at the difference between Copilot M365. Right now, I'm in M365 Copilot. Here, I'm using Teach. I'm going to go to lesson plan. I'm trying to show you hallucinations. Let's say I'm doing science grade 8 and I want to do photosynthesis. I need a real world um, inquiry based, personalized learning lesson plan. I don't need to write lesson plan, right? Okay, all my spellings are haywire, but you know what I'm saying, right? And it'll understand. Add your own, I will repeat myself, add your own lesson plan here so that it talks to you. It tells you what you have done. It helps. It's not reinventing the wheel for you. And it's actually giving you the content which makes sense. Then add standards. What are these standards? These are NCRT learning outcomes that are already available over here. So when I type over here NCERT, you see over here, it's giving me all my learning outcomes of NCRT. I'm going to take science because I'm teaching science right now, grade 8, science, and here I have learning outcomes. Okay. Now, one, I simply had to write a few words and then I'm just going to choose. Let's say experiment is fine, processes is fine, appreciate discoveries is fine, and exhibits values. I always take values with me. Now, all these learning outcomes I have attached, and I'll change this to 30 minutes and I will say generate. Now, as this generates, I know it's going to do very quickly. I'm going to go to Copilot and say, uh, draft a lesson plan on photosynthesis for class 8 students NCRT. Personalized learning, inquiry based, and real world. Right? I'm generating lesson plans on two different platforms. This is general, this is not trained on AI. Take a look at the responses. First of all, the learning objectives. Yeah, using NCRT framework. It is only giving me this much. Let's go over here to see what my learning objectives become. Can you read this? I'm going to collapse this so that this becomes bigger for you. Students will conduct a simple investigation to explore the conditions required for photosynthesis and related to real world scenarios. As I go for activities uncovering mysteries of photosynthesis, what does it give me here? I don't know, but I'm just going to find out. Flow of lesson plan, engage, explore. You know why? Because I have trained this one to work on the 5E and it's using the 5E lesson plan. But this is not what I do or what my class demands. My class works more like this. Now, do you understand? That's generic. That may not be what you're looking for. This is so simple to understand, so doable in my class because this has been trained to be able to give me a response that is directed for education. And guess what? You can even change. You want interactive, you want to be creative. You can keep the tone to be creative and say regenerate. Yeah. Now look at that. Now everything will seem to be more creative by nature over here. Now look at that. your language has changed. And when the language changes, your understanding changes. So, what I'm trying to tell you is the hallucination part, ethical dilemmas that we talk about, are lesser when you know this tool has been trained for a particular purpose. Therefore, when choosing your tool, please be very mindful. You can choose anything between Claude, Perplexity, Gemini, ChatGPT, but they're not trained for education. M365 Copilot, using your academic license, is trained for education. Therefore, it will minimize the the hallucinations that you might get. I hope I've been able to help you understand this in a very non-AI manner. But what we are looking at is basically, spotting these inconsistencies, the gaps, and getting into the habit of reframing our thoughts around AI, taking a look at also, I think, very important aspect would be taking a look at the privacy and safety. The shield that you see in Microsoft Copilot 365, you don't see it over here. This is ChatGPT. You can even go and take a look at other platforms. Do you see that? And guarding our data while using these AI tools is our responsibility. And I think in education, privacy is not optional, it's a responsibility. When students use AI tools, they may be entering, prompts, questions, or personal details without realizing that that information can be stored, learned from, and reused. M365 Copilot education license gives you the promise that your data, whatever prompts you're putting, our system is not being trained on your data. It's not being reused. We must guide our colleagues, our students very clearly that don't enter your personal details, don't share your identifying information, don't upload your photos without permission. Whenever we take pictures, we either take permission from you or we take the back of your head or your work that goes online. So use this kind of a school approved, approach so that we all have uniformity in what we are doing. Safety becomes a part of digital citizenship and our identity that exists digitally. Heavy? Yeah, very heavy. Such topics are always heavy. But look at this. AI has a potential to free up so much of our time. I've heard this so many times. How will we use all of this free time? Well, she says, mostly to worry about all the potential issues that AI has now created for me. And honestly, this is not a joke. After having a conversation about AI and experiencing AI after 2 hours, what I get from my audience is, but what will happen if? And I encourage those conversations. I make everybody put their devices away, put on their thinking hats to say, you're right. What you are thinking about is exactly what might happen and what will happen if we do not bring these dilemmas into light. And those of you who have been in sessions with me will agree with me that I have initiated these conversations. I have got you thinking. It's just not me. You know why? Because UNESCO survey suggests that less than 10% of schools and universities had institutional policies or formal guidelines for the use of generative AI. And the absence of such guidance puts us at a greater risk of privacy breaches, uneven disciplinary actions, and even uneven implementation. Therefore, please go back to your institutions, have a way to strategize and create that culture of ethical and responsible use of AI. Have a conversation. Step number one, create AI usage agreement. What is it? It's a shared document that outlines everything: expectations, responsibilities, guidelines. How should I use it? If I don't use it like this, what can I do? What can I not do? Can students use AI for doing their homework? Well, if they are doing that, what should they be doing in the class? Latest survey says that our teaching should be such that we flip the classroom. Flip is going to be the future. How? You give the students to prepare themselves to read from home and come, and in your class, get them to think about it. Questions will play a major role. Ask them the questions that you need to ask them. Students' responsibility will be to use AI to support their learning, not replace you. What teachers' responsibility will be monitoring this use, number one. Number two, making them think about what have you learned? What have you actually been able to retain? AI is not always accurate. It has biased uh, you know information that it offers to you. Therefore, ethical practices is what we need to teach in class. Use visible thinking routines. Ask them to get their problems out and discuss. Co-create the agreements with them so then students build really, ownership towards that. Display it in the classroom. Display it digitally. Display it physically. Review just the way we have those rules and ethics displayed on the walls of our schools. Tell them the same applies to your digital world as well. Simple, repeatable questions that help students reflect, pause to reflect a lot. If you've been in my sessions, you would have seen I make my audience pause to think a lot because doing without thinking is something that I don't agree with. And we would highly encourage if you can have these routines of writing by reflecting. Oh, I have to share something with you, and I will. Our teachers is an amazing community, and you will soon see um, um, a, a kind of a post on LinkedIn. We're still trying to figure out the format in which we should present that data. We made teachers reflect in a very unique manner. We did this exercise with teachers where we told them, imagine you were to meet yourself once again in 2050. By that time, we would have aged a little bit, right? And you were to send a postcard to yourself today about what did you learn today using AI. You want to see what they made? Oh, they made something beautiful. I'll show you one of the samples. Here you go. Dear me in 2050. Today, I began using AI as my co-pilot, and I'm positive that I will make teaching and learning both immensely engaging and fun. We have so many of such samples. They all created this using Copilot. This was a way to reflect. Now, if I would have asked them, tell me what do you feel about Copilot, having used Copilot today, maybe I couldn't get them to think the way they are thinking right now. But just imagine these words interesting. You must take a read because it's always good to see what people are thinking and what they're doing. So invent some ways or think of some which ways, new ways of making your students think when they are you or whatever new they have learned. Get them to think from the perspective of not just content, but also value-driven content. I think that's it that I'm going to tell you. And please involve parents, involve tech admins, involve everybody in this process. Everybody needs to be a part of these because ethical behavior is a mirror of what you value the most, whether it is digitally or physically. It's really your reflection. And if you go to Copilot, do ask for some ideas to take ethical thinking into your classrooms. And I'm sure it'll offer you plenty. Well, if you think that today's session was valuable, don't shy away from inviting us to your schools. We are available, and these are our channels. And I will post the link to our channels in the chat window along with today's test. And yes, we do have the test, and I haven't forgotten that there are two tests that you are going to get. One is the one that you are going to attempt today, and the other one is the one that was for last time. So I will give you both the tests, and also I will give you a feedback form to fill, our channels to follow. It's all there in the chat window. Here's the test for today. You know how it happens. If you're looking for a certificate for today's session, go ahead and take the test. Pay a nominal fee of rupees 200. Of course, score 80% on that test, and there are only 5 questions there. And then pay a nominal fee of 200 rupees, where what everything is written in the form. Go ahead, use the form to do so. We will soon be sharing our, our calendar for January very soon. So keep an eye for that. And I understand that you're going to take this test first. So I don't want to confuse you with two tests together. Go ahead and take this test. I will share the link to the test in this chat window itself in some time, and you can take that test too. But all I'm going to say is have a very safe rest of the year. A few days left, but wherever you are, keep thinking, stay ethical, stay safe, and I think whatever you have gained in 2025, take it with you to 2026. And whatever you feel that, this was the challenge, take that also with you because somewhere you only need to solve it. So bring it to our discussions. We would love to have a conversation with you about what is it that you want. And as I said in the beginning of the session, if you feel there's something that we should be talking about in these sessions related to AI, which you want to hear more about, do give us suggestions on the topic. We would love to bring to you what you want to hear rather than give you what we feel is right. Okay. So please go ahead and, take the test, and I will just drop the link to the test. And by the way, you can actually go ahead and watch the video of last session on our YouTube channel. Before answering the questions, I will highly recommend that you go ahead and take a look at the questions and answer those. Oh, sorry, take a look at the video before you answer these questions. It'll help you do a recap before you start answering. All right. I'm going to drop a link in the chat window to this piece now, and I hope you don't confuse these two links. So I'm now very clearly going to write this is for 16th November. All right. This link is for 16th November. Test for 16th November. Here you go. It's there in the chat window for you. You can take away both the tests separately, and let's see where it takes you. Yeah. I'm just going to go ahead and uh, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and give you the rest of the day for you to do this test. But thank you so much for joining us. Your feedback is extremely important. Do share your candid feedback with us, and we would love to hear more from you. Thank you so much. Have a very safe rest of the year, and I will see you in January. Bye bye. Take care. Happy New Year.